everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. Woo! It's been so long I forgot to woo. That's my bad. I'm glad someone brought it up. Let's get another one in there. Woo!
Woo!
My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me, that's right, it's Steve Jaco of Flyperbole and Broad Street Hockey fame. Steve, have you ever watched a Flyers game that for 30 minutes was the worst thing you've ever seen, and for the next 30 was like a pretty damn entertaining game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will tell you, well, there was one, we were talking about this briefly before we started the show, and there was a game I did earlier this year. It was actually one that you were busy that night, and me and Tyler did the show together, and it was the Columbus Blue Jackets game. And through 2 periods, the Flyers were dead. They were horrible in that game. And I was looking at Tyler in the studio, in the PHLY studios, and I'm like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Like, I can spin my wheels so much, but I don't know what we're going to talk about. And then Owen Tippett proceeds to have like the greatest game of his life in one period, the third period, which thankfully was just like, we talked about Owen Tippett the whole time. But this was like somewhat similar, although this one started great for the Flyers because
they scored right away.
Scott Laughton, who we were talking about in pregame, we were actually talking like trade rumors with Scott Laughton in pregame.
Yeah.
And it's so appropriate that Scott Laughton comes out of the gate and scores immediately. And not only does he score, great goal, by the way, but also Kuzmenko, who just spent like, I don't know, a week kind of chilling, like wandering Canada, like the Incredible Hulk. Like, he comes down and he immediately goes in there. I think he played like 20 minutes tonight or something, like, or close to 20 minutes.
It was at least 19. I heard on the broadcast. I just opened the box score, but he ended up being one of the stars of the game. We'll ask Charlie if he makes his list. But yeah, I thought he was really, especially in the first half of this game where nobody on the Flyers, like, I don't know, man. If this game ended after 30 minutes and they won 1-0, it was still, I don't know. I'm giving all 3 stars to Pittsburgh, I think.
Right. It
really looked that way. Like, Kuzmenko was one of the Flyers' 2 best players, and the other one was Sam Ersson by leaps and bounds. So that was really fun to see. As I tried to bring up.
But
so Konecny played 20:02, Kutz played 19:27, and then there's Kuzmenko at 18:53. Almost
wild
19
stuff.
Minutes. That's really, really good stuff. But this Flyer, like, the way that this game turns, so the Flyers score on their first shot, and they only have 2 in the first period. Like, that was it for the entire time. Basically, they get outshot 10-2. Attempts were 36-5, and somehow they're up 1-0 after the first, because that's hockey, I guess.
Let's do that hockey.
Really, it seemed as if maybe they were waiting Pittsburgh out a little bit. Pittsburgh played last night. We always hear, in the first half of the game, even the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, the team that played last night is already a little loose. So maybe they have the jump. And then as the game goes on, it's just like, your body gets tired. You played hockey last night. Now you're doing it again. And maybe that's what happened with the Flyers tonight. But I just can't believe the way they turned this game. That said, man, Pittsburgh's roster out there and getting dominated the way they did for 30 minutes doesn't exactly bode well for everyone who was on the ice.
I mean, there's a reason we're talking tank with this team, and this is one night that nobody cares about the tank on a night like this, because we all love beating the Penguins. It doesn't matter how good or bad either team is. We love beating the Penguins. The Penguins, the Devils, the Rangers. Every time doesn't, and I'll throw the Islanders in there too. We all hate all my homies hate the Islanders. So those are teams we love to beat no matter what. And I don't care about losing or whatever tonight. It is all about beating the Penguins. And yeah, just a very weird game. Kuzmenko gets a point on his first, like, right out of the gate.
He's one of the 3 fastest Flyers. I had the list. I lost the tweet, but it's I think there were like 2 Flyers ever who scored in less amount of like game time in their debut to get their very first point. And Kuzmenko right there.
Well, he was bumping tonight because did you see the clip where he got the smelling salts on the bench and then he does that little like butt bump, like gets up? Like, what is going on with this guy? He's goofy as hell, but I like him. And what I really liked about him tonight, especially, was the passing. Like, he had some great passes out there.
Yes. Yeah. I want to talk about his role on the power play and Rocky Thompson and whatever the hell he's doing in a little bit. But we just have to talk about some of the absurdity of this game first. Flyers blocked 34 shots. Overall, Pittsburgh had 41 shots blocked, which means there was a ton of friendly fire as well. But attempts in the game for the 60 minutes. Flyers, 49. Penguins, 91. It was almost double. Almost freaking double, Steve. Like, how do you have 91 shot attempts in a regular season 60-minute game?
91 shot attempts without Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, or Brian Rust in the lineup tonight. That's the part that gets me. Like, the Penguins' best offensive player by a mile tonight was Erik Karlsson. Erik Karlsson is, like, in hockey terms, 80 years old. Yes. I mean, he looks great for 80. He's gorgeous, like 80. Hustling out there. Yeah. What a shot he had on that goal tonight, by the way. Like, that's one where Sam Ersson had a really, really strong game. Sam Ersson had 32 saves on 34 shots tonight. Really solid effort from Sam, especially with the Penguins making 90-plus shot attempts. But you just got to give props to Karlsson on that shot. That was just, like, unreal.
I know, like, goalies and people get annoyed when they see how goalies now try to defend, like, those side angle. And you're kind of giving it to them. Like, you have that space in the ear, but I realize shooters are better than ever. And I realize, like, the sticks now make it so much easier to try to place the puck than ever. And defenses aren't exactly cross-checking you in the face when you're in that spot. So it's not the 90s anymore. Like, Bill. There's Darian Hatcher's not coming. I was just about to say Hatcher. There's no Darian Hatcher knocking your teeth out, like, if you're in that area. So it isn't as hard to pick that corner, but it's still a high-level play. It is a low percentage chance that a guy hits that, and goalies just kind of go, I'm going to give it to you, and if you can get it, you get it, because getting beat low kills them. They hate it so much. They have the pads. They take away the bottom of the ice. They take away the short side and go, if you can beat me at my ear, great shot, bro.
By the way, that's the kind of thing that always happens to me in an NHL video game when I think it was Andrei who did the dive right before Karlsson. Yeah. Every time I use the dive in an NHL video game like that, the guy hits, like, the best shot you've ever seen. So there must be a correlation there. I guess that's one thing EA got right when they were designing that into the game.
But it's just an absurd game. So the Flyers end up winning it 3-2. Some pretty good performances once you look at the game as a whole. But I'm going to talk about the man who made his debut tonight. He made us wait long enough to see him, or the government did, or the league. I don't know. Somebody made us wait long enough.
It wasn't him. He would have been here ASAP. Yeah. I believe it.
He picks up the secondary assist on Laughton's opening goal. It's on his very first shift. He gets the puck on a nice little slick pass to TK, and TK does the rest to feed Laughton, who scores 5-hole. Very nice play all around. I thought he made some really nice plays moving the puck in transition. Just slick passes, quick, decisive passes that we just don't see all that much. And I actually, it made me laugh a little. He has a nice setup in the third period to Matvei Michkov, and Matvei Michkov looked like every other Flyers line mate that he has had when he tries to make a creative play and just fumbles it a little, wasn't quite ready for it. And it's like, ooh, buddy, you might have had a goal right there if you just if you were expecting what he was going to throw at you. And it just was like, wow, this must be hard playing with a guy who just sees things that you don't, even for like Michkov, who is the one who typically sees it and his line mates don't. But I was very impressed with Kuzmenko, and just I don't want to overblow it and be like, oh my God, he's elite. We got to re-sign him
immediately.
It's just that it really kind of shows how low the bar for offensive talent is here. And like, he's good and he's super skilled and everything. But I see Kuzmenko for 18 and a half minutes, and I'm like, yo, he's the second best offensive player.
Sign me up, baby. No, I always think in all my years of watching Flyers hockey, my dad's number one complaint is always the Flyers can't pass all the time.
Yeah.
My dad's always like, the Flyers are horrible passers. They just always have the worst passes I've ever seen. He's actually right. Like, he ain't wrong there. And it was nice to see somebody come out and complete a damn pass, like complete a pass through traffic. Like, and Bill, I'm blaming you personally for that Michkov one, because he was your Bet365 pick of the night for scoring a goal. And like, you jinxed him right there. You know it.
Michkov just can't quite get the leverage on the puck. And it was a nice play. Like, what the hell was Pittsburgh's goalie's name now? I completely.
Blomqvist.
Yeah, Blomqvist. Yeah, like, he makes a nice play. He gets beat, but stretches far enough that Mish has to hold it an extra second, and then he just can't get the leverage on the puck, and he kind of just bunts it on the breakaway. And then there's the Kuzmenko setup. There was a couple other chances he had that just went wide. Yeah, I had to swear off Owen Tippett earlier in the season. I think this might be it. For the final 25 games, I don't think I am going to bet an anytime Matvei Michkov goal, because I want him to get back in this Calder race. And by doing it, I might be not only losing those bets, but seriously decreasing the possibility of my future of him winning the Calder. Like, I think Scott Laughton throwing it all away. Yeah,
you got to go Scott Laughton from now on, or Garnet Hathaway.
Scott Laughton for the 6 games up until the break, at least up until the trade deadline. I mean, right. So that's the one thing I wanted to ask about Kuzmenko, because this is a part of the trade, of the Farabee Frost trade, that I've kind of been contemplating. You know, the Ivan Provorov trade, they get everything they get. You know, they take back some money, do this and that. And then they end up, one of the pieces they got, Sean Walker, flipping him for a first-round pick. Makes you look at the Provorov trade and go, oh, 2 firsts, hell yeah. While the return for Farabee and Frost, a lot of people thought it was disappointing. I'm looking at Kuzmenko. 6 games to go before the deadline. They come back from the break. They play 6 games, and then it's the trade deadline. Think there's any chance they flip him? Like, if he looks the way he looked tonight, teams always need offense.
I'm not opposed to that. Like, I'll flip anybody not named Matvei Michkov on this team at this point. Like, no, I'm down to trade anybody. So yeah, if somebody comes knocking with significant value for Kuzmenko, like, I'm all about it. At the same time, I like him. Like, I liked his game tonight. The only worrisome thing really with him is like why he was traded in the first place, and that's his inconsistency year to year. Like, you never know which Kuzmenko you're going to get year to year. But I liked what I saw tonight. This was a great start, and I'm very intrigued by the possibility of him and Michkov for the rest of the season. You know, guys that are high ability guys that can really pass the puck on a level that most of the other guys on this team can't. Like, TK can pass the puck pretty darn impressively. TK is really good with that. And every now and then Tippett pulls a really nice one out. Cam York can pull a nice one out. Jamie Drysdale can really, really do it like nicely when he's on. Big win, right? Yeah. And Sanheim can pull one out sometimes, but like, it's a pretty short list. Like, they're not like, let's think about the second goal today. It's that Garnet Hathaway.
Oh, damn. Nice pass, Sanheim. Like, when he does it, you're like, oh, okay.
Like, oh, yeah. Look what we got today. How about that?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I don't know. I think a lot of like dirty Flyers goals, and nothing gets dirtier than Garnet Hathaway's second goal tonight, where it was like the Costco version of the Mike Richards shift.
Yeah.
Where he's got this puck. He's got a bunch of chaos. Like, he just rained chaos upon the Penguins on this one. He just brings in the offensive zone. The goalie goes out to play at Blomqvist, and there's like a minor collision, and then the puck just kind of leaks back into the net. It's just like, and Hathaway just smiled. Like, he didn't celebrate. He was just, that's weird.
And you know what? In intermission, he was like, you know what? For all the posts and stuff you hit, sometimes you get lucky too. And that just, honestly, it spoke to the absurdity of this freaking game, because that's what it was. It was an absurd game. Listen, I'm going to talk a lot more about what happened tonight, but we got to take a quick minute to tell you about a couple of sponsors, starting with TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Listen, you just got through all the holiday shopping, and now suddenly maybe you're looking at paying off those bills, and hey, maybe you went to some Birds playoff games. Maybe you're looking to get some some merch in a couple of days when something pretty big happens here in Philadelphia. Well, if you are looking to clear up that credit card balance that's weighing you down, you can with TrueMark Financial, and you can do it with 0 interest until 2026. It's true because TrueMark Financial is offering 0 interest on balance transfers for 12 months, so all your payments can go towards reducing your balance, not just covering interest. Here's what you got to do. Transfer your existing credit card balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. But hurry, you only have until the end of this month. I've been told I can't pronounce this month, so I'm just going to tell you this month we're in right now, you have till the 28th to get to qualify for this offer. And so whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply just prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, with TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. And as Steve just mentioned, our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Yeah, we took another L tonight. Well done on the mirroring there. I would have absolutely got that. It took me a second. We had the Michkov anytime goal. It did not come through. He had plenty of chances, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Like my dad always said, that's why they call it gambling. But whether you win or lose, I have been placing all my bets at Bet365 this year. My player props, my futures, all of it. And now we have an account open offer for you. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use code PHLY365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your original bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Folks, go put that bonus on that Saquon anytime touchdown tomorrow.
That has to be like minus 500. Like a Saquon or Jalen parlay, you might hit it and still owe money based on like what the juice is probably going to be. But yeah, just the craziness of this game. But we do have to give it to, like we mentioned at the top, the Flyers were nowhere to be found for the first 30 minutes of this game outside of like a lucky, and not like just their one and only play they made was the Laughton goal. Ersson was the guy outside of that, one goal that the Flyers scored in the first half of this game. And then he comes in and locks it down late. Penguins were really buzzing at the end. Like they weren't just dead. The Flyers didn't really have too many attempts at the empty net. It was all Pittsburgh, and Ersson kind of locked it down.
The Penguins wanted this game bad. Like they were buzzing all night. They did not look like a team that was down star players. They didn't look like a team that had just played last night in the train station. Like they were buzzing. They really did want this. And Ersson just shut them down. Like the defense was not doing him any favors. The shot attempts tell the story right there. They were blocking shots, but they were still allowing pressure. I mean, that was like 8 seconds, which magically turned to 9 seconds at the end there when there was a scrum out front. And I'm just sitting there like losing my mind, like Tommy Boy style with my hair, like going like, what's happening? Because it was just so frustrating where they're just pinned on their own end. And also like, look at the second goal, right? The second goal, which is a whole mess that I
want to talk about that review. Yeah.
But like the whole thing is that goal only happens because the Flyers defense isn't clearing that puck away. They aren't doing Sam Ersson any favors. Sam Ersson's doing everything he can to try and cover that puck, keep it out of the net. And the defense is just not, maybe part of that's because Ristolainen's out and they're a little bit smaller without him. Maybe it's just the fact that they weren't playing that great tonight, but they were not doing him favors. This win is very much a Sam Ersson win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to talk about that review because I thought I remembered hearing like a year or two ago that they had changed the intent to blow rule so that you could do exactly what the Penguins did tonight, because sometimes the ref is just wrong. Like, and I mean, like Pittsburgh, it helped them win a Stanley Cup. The stupid freaking like intent to blow rule when they just decided to blow a puck dead that was alive in the slot for no reason. But regardless, I thought that's kind of just what happened. Like, I know JJ and Bush were like, well, the intent to blow, like, it is what it is. You can't challenge that. And I thought I remembered that you could, but they later tell us that's not even what it was. It was a disallowed goal on goalie interference. And I don't know how they came away with it wasn't the push into the net. I don't know. Maybe that's why they overturned it, but they initially called it goalie interference. That's why the Kevin Hayes goal didn't count. And then when they review, it's very obvious he just picks up the loose puck. He's not like, throwing Sam Ersson around to get to it or anything, and he deposits it behind him. But that whole thing, it was just an absurd game. That's really all there is to it, Steve.
It was an absurd game, and it was absurdly handled by the refs. Like, I really hated how the refs handled this, because the fact that it ended up being, which sounded like an excuse to me. It sounded like an excuse because I don't think they should have reviewed the, intent to blow the whistle there. I agree. He blew it too early in the first place, and the play should have continued, and the Penguins' goal should have been a goal. I do agree with that. But once the refs made the decision, that doesn't seem like something reviewable. I've seen so many things that should be reviewable that the refs are like, oh, we're not reviewing that. This seemed like something that shouldn't have been reviewable. So I was surprised that they called it reviewable. And then on top of that, to come back later and say that it was a goaltender interference thing, which it was not. Like, they're blowing smoke up our butts here, Bill. Like, that, it's no way that's what it was in the first place.
The one reason the one thing that maybe makes it make a little bit more sense is it seemed like John Tortorella was going to be like, all right, well, then I'm challenging for goalie interference. And that's when they explained to him, that's what we were looking at. I guess the whole thing, just as annoying as NFL officiating is, and listen, it's not good. Like, all officiating is bad. That's just
we're going to be talking about this in 24 hours for sure.
Absolutely. How the Eagles overcame some of the worst calls ever, and they still won by 17. It's insane. But like, all officiating's bad. But at least, like, in the NBA and the NFL, they go out of their way to explain to you what happened. Like, the official just goes up and goes, no goal. All right, why? Like, we need to know what's being, and then they're like, we're looking. Okay, for what? Why? Like, there's just no, and so when they come up with a ruling, you don't know how to react to it until somebody gets word from the league, and then they pass it along to JJ. Hey, this is what happened 15 minutes ago. Like, oh, thanks, man. Cool.
It was an entire period later.
Like, what if they don't get the info? Like, what if that happens at the end of the game, and I'm sitting here yelling about something, and it's like, yeah, I don't even know what the ruling was because no one ever told us, and they got to it on their post-game show. Like, the whole thing is just asinine.
It's asinine, and God forbid this happened in a game that matters.
Yeah.
Because, like, this game is, for all of our talking about this game doesn't mean anything.
No.
Okay? These two teams are at the bottom of their division. They're probably both missing the playoffs, okay? This is not good hockey. Bruce over here agrees. Not good hockey. And it ultimately is not the most consequential call, but it's still bizarre. And the refs do need to be giving better explanations about this stuff, especially, like, again, if this is a more consequential game, if this is a game for playoff positioning, or God forbid, a playoff game, that's bad news for the league right there. That's terrible PR for the league.
And really, like, my biggest complaint about all of it is the lack of any explanation whatsoever until 10 minutes later, like in real time. I just, oh yeah, this is what it was. Like, how is JJ how aren't the officials the ones who are passing this information along, being as they're the only ones who know what's going on? Like, they know what the original
call. It's like the
call.
end of the game when they said it. I'm sitting there like, it's the RAB 4 minutes to play, and I'm like, what the? And they're talking about this goal that I almost forgot about at this point. Like, I didn't forget, but you know what I mean.
They made the initial call. They know what's being challenged, and they know what was discussed during the replay. We got none of it. Like, I just, it's just frustrating as a viewer that you wouldn't just give your audience a hint as to, like, hey, Pittsburgh scored. Why? Don't worry about it. They did. Like, okay. I guess I won't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it, guys. No big deal. Oh, who cares about this game?
Even with that weird call and even with the way Pittsburgh dominated a lot of this game, Sam Ersson was stupendous. And they were talking about this. I would be a little surprised if it were to happen, Steve, but maybe Ers can get himself a little bit of time in this Four Nations. Like, again, it would be cool for him. I want to see him finish the year strong with the Flyers because that's what actually matters to me. But for him to actually get to wear the sweater, like we've talked about this with TK, like as long as all of his limbs are attached, he's playing in the Four Nations because this is his one and only chance to show I belong on the Olympic roster. And for Ersson, you have I would be surprised if he makes the Olympic team in 2026, like this might be his best chance.
It could be his one shot, his one opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to let it slip. I just like, this is his chance to either one, like actually just get to wear the sweater and play, and two, maybe impress the coaches a little bit and start making a case for himself for next year. When it's not just a jersey selling, let's fill TV time sort of thing. It's the
let's be honest here. It's all about big jersey at the end of the day.
I have this complaint. I put it out on Twitter earlier, Steve. The Four Nations commercial, where it's like for what? First of all, starting it with for what when that's everyone's question. Like, what's this? What exactly are we playing for here?
For who? Like, for what?
Yeah, like that's silly. And two, when someone turns around in a Team USA jersey, the 1980 sweater, and is like, because we still believe in miracles, and then they cut to Team USA wearing not that jersey, it infuriates me because you have a great one right there. That's the jersey. The 1980 Team USA jersey. One, it's dope. Two, they won the gold medal and beat the Soviets in it. Maybe use that one.
The miracle jersey. It's the miracle jersey.
There's a movie about that jersey. I don't know. Wear it.
I have a 47 brand t-shirt that's just that design. And that's like my go-to like Olympic shirt now. It's awesome.
Anyway, that's my mini rant is not only aren't you wearing the jersey, you showed it to me and then showed me actually we're not wearing that one. I found that I just found that annoying, Steve.
I mean, this whole thing is just weird. Like, I agree with your sentiment that like it's better than the All-Star break.
It's better than the All-Star game.
It's 100% better than the All-Star game.
And they'll care.
But like they'll care. But it just sounds so goofy, like Four Nations face off. And then on top of that, like Russia's not involved, which if you're talking hockey powerhouses, Russia's clearly one of the top hockey powerhouses. Now,
just like,
we all understand the geopolitical reasons for not being involved, right? But if you're talking from pure hockey perspective, like it's kind of a joke to not have Russia involved for pure hockey perspective, just because like how many great like Alex Ovechkin and Matvei Michkov and like there's so many great Russian players that it's just like a little weird. That's all to say. I'm still going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy watching it, but like it's all been handled weird from a marketing perspective, and it's weird as a concept.
I just think like I like it better than an All-Star game because that is a waste of time. If you're watching the All-Star game, like my God, man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you're doing.
If you spent
you like hockey more than me, that's all there is to it. You like my life is hockey. Like I pay my bills with hockey. You like hockey way more than I do if you're watching the All-Star game. Like
the All-Star game has been like a nice nap weekend for me. And like, they would also throw it the same weekend as like the Pro Bowl. So it's like, wow, 2 All-Star games I don't care about. And the Pro Bowl is now a skills competition and a flag football game.
Yeah, which I always thought they should play like softball and just show how great athletes these guys are. Like put them in like a decathlon or something. Like,
was it Rock and Jock?
Yeah,
MTV Rock and Jock
ruled, man.
Let's just do Rock and Jock all the time.
I like how this is turning into an episode of Flyperbole.
This is your fault. This is when you have me on. This is what happens.
But yeah, we have the rest of we have like the next 2 weeks to talk about our thoughts on Four Nations. So I guess. You know what? Let's knock out some ads before Charlie joins us.
Let's talk some Sam Ersson.
Let's take a quick break, Brenna. Let's start out with Golden Nugget Jewelers, because for the past 30 years, Golden Nugget Jewelers has operated out of the very same location in the heart of Philly. Customers from across PA, Jersey, even Baltimore and NYC have come to Golden Nugget Jewelers to find that perfect engagement ring or wedding band. The staff is highly trained and dedicated to providing a personalized shopping experience. And fellas, I know we're all kind of wrapped up here. Super Bowl, all this stuff going on. Valentine's Day is almost here, and there's a vast selection of engagement rings and wedding bands, along with high-end watches, jewelry, sparkling diamond necklaces, bracelets, earrings, so much more. Head over to Golden Nugget Jewelers and get this taken care of, because while the birds are pursuing a ring, you can't forget about your own pursuit of a ring. Golden Nugget Jewelers has been family-owned and operated since 1987. They're right at the corner of 8th and Chestnut, and you deserve an expert and the best price. That's why you got to go to Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Visit goldennuggetjewelry.com today to learn more. And while we're here, I'll tell you about Ace Hardware Home Services, because if you've got a leaky pipe, Ace Hardware Home Services is right around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. Same thing with the air conditioning issues. You know, I suffered through those this summer. Ace was tremendous in helping us out with that. And maybe that leaky faucet, you thought you could do this yourself, and listen, man, we're not Bob Vila. It ain't happening. You gotta go to Ace Hardware because they have a person for that too. Now, they're not just the helpful hardware folks. They're the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project today. I know you like that Bob Vila call.
I really enjoyed that. I haven't heard that name in a while.
I was going to go with Tim the Toolman Taylor, and then I was like, no, there's a not fictional guy I could do here. Yeah. That's all going through my head in the middle of the read. I don't know how.
Was it This Old House that he did?
That sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds right. But yeah, Tim the Toolman Taylor I also would have appreciated. More power. So let's get back to, I guess, talking about the hockey game that happened tonight. So another busy night for Travis Sanheim back on defense without Rasmus Ristolainen in there. 26 minutes for Sanheim, who I don't know how heavy Canada is going to use him over the next few weeks, but he's having an exhausting season. So, hey, if you guys want to use him on like the third pairing, that would be great.
Yeah, 26. And listen, the tournament doesn't even start till I think Wednesday. It is the last game before the break, so you're going to put some miles on him. He's got a few days off here. Drysdale ends up playing 23, York over 21. They really didn't use Andrei and Sealer all that much. I thought Andrei looked really good the other night and not so great tonight. But now let's ask the expert. Now joining us, it's Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer. It is Charlie O'Connor coming to us live from the Wells Fargo Center. Charlie, thoughts on the game and standout comments from the locker room?
Yeah, they didn't play that well, especially in the first half of the game. I thought they got better as the game went on. Third period, I thought, was their most impressive period. Not that they dominated, but they had some good shifts. They had some puck possession. But this was not one of their better games, and John Tortorella was open about that. He said he thought, out of their last few games, their best game of the last three was the game against the Capitals, where they didn't get a single point.
Yep.
And then they get an overtime loss point against the Utah Hockey Club, and then they get a win against the Penguins, and they get a regulation loss in the game they played the best. That's hockey. It's more or less what Tort said. It's more or less what I would say. It's a weird game. And maybe this was karma for the good work they put in against the Capitals 2 nights ago, where they weren't rewarded. Tonight they play worse and they get rewarded. That said, they made some plays. The Kuzmenko to Konecny to Laughton play early. That was a really nice play, really, by all three of them. They all made really good plays. Kuzmenko makes a really slick pass in the neutral zone off the boards to kick the puck forward. Konecny draws everybody to him, makes a nice pass over, and then Laughton with a really nice finish. The one funny story, though, about Konechny's goal. Both Konecny and Tortorella said that basically the reason why Konecny was late coming on the ice for the delayed penalty is because no one realized that there was a delayed penalty. And Ersson comes off the ice, and apparently he came off the ice screaming at the bench to be like, somebody get on the ice. And Torts kind of just scoffed and was like, that was the kind of night we were having where like our concentration just wasn't there. But that's why it took Konecny a beat longer than he should have been getting on the ice. And as Torts said, maybe that actually helped them because it was kind of a rope-a-dope type of thing where then the Penguins didn't realize he was coming on because they figured, well, the sixth guy must already be on, right? And he wasn't. Comes on late, blasts the shot. They get a lucky bounce from off of Noel Achari's stick, I believe. Bobby Brink set a decent screen. But look, this was a game of bounces. The Flyers got them tonight, and they didn't get them 2 nights ago against the Capitals when they probably deserved to win that game. Tonight they did. That's hockey.
Yeah, Charlie. So I do want to talk about TK's goal in a second, but first, that's Tortorella. He acknowledges they didn't play all that well. What's like the mood in the room? They're going into the break with a division win, but they haven't been great lately. Their play tonight, they won, so that's cool, but quality of play, Like, how is everyone going into this break? Would you say there's like an overall feeling heading into the 2 weeks off?
Well, I think they're relieved they got a win. No one wanted to go into this break on a 6-game losing streak. And, it doesn't matter how they won. Yeah, I'm sure they would have preferred to have played better, especially in the first, let's say, 25, 30 minutes of the game. Thought the final 30 they played fine. Not great, but fine. So, yeah, I'm sure they would have preferred to have played a better first half of the game. But what matters more than that is having the win. Because in a week when most of them are sitting on the beach, 4 or 5 of them are playing in or doing something in Four Nations, if you want to include John Tortorella.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that they won't remember that the process of this game wasn't great. All they'll remember is that, well, we won the last game coming into the break, so we can feel at least decently about ourselves. So I think there's more just relief than anything else. That said, they know where they stand. They know it's daunting if they want to try to pull themselves back into this race. Obviously, they watched 2 of their teammates get traded away. I think everybody was pretty excited overall, though, to get Kuzmenko in the lineup, to get Peltier at least here. I think they're expecting to get a boost from them coming out of the break. So I would say relief that they got a win, but I'm not acting like the room is jumping for joy. They have lost 5 of their last 6. They did lose 2 of their really good friends to a trade, and they still don't really know these new guys yet. And they know the math is daunting to get back in the playoffs. I don't think they're pumped, but they're certainly better than if they had lost 6 straight going into the break,
So. They're, they could be better, could be worse. So Charlie, weird sequence of events on that second Penguins goal tonight with the officiating and everything. Any thoughts on that? And how early did you know that it was goaltender interference that they were actually reviewing?
Well, they don't tell us why they're reviewing goals. So we found out about that when the NHL released the report that said this was overturned on the or called not a goal on the ice due to goaltender interference, not due to intent to blow the whistle or just the whistle being blown, period. Look, in the arena, I can't tell if the whistle had been blown or not. Obviously, you can't hear it. You guys are watching on television, so I'd assume that maybe they tried to figure out when the whistle actually was blown.
It was
so
like
I can't speak to that. I can't speak to that.
They on the broadcast, it was like, we think this is intent because he's like bringing the whistle to his mouth, and I don't.
He was
think
blowing
it. Blown.
He was blowing it pretty much as the puck was going into the net. Like that was how I saw it. Like it was either as it was going in or like right after it went in. But like, yeah.
I think my general view, and again, this just speaks to sort of what I care about. Like my thing is less, was this correct by the letter of the law? And it's more, was it fair? That was a goal. Everybody knows that was a goal. The intent to blow rule is extremely stupid. And if they're not, if they're going to slowly find ways to ease it out because everyone and their mother knows it's an extremely stupid rule, I'm generally speaking fine with it because that was a goal. I felt bad for Sam Ersson because he made a freaking awesome save on Hayes and then nobody helps him clear the puck or stuff it under his pad or something. So I felt bad for him. But you watch the replay. That's a goal. That should have been a goal. And even though it would have helped the Flyers had they cited the intent to blow rule, which again, ridiculous rule, it doesn't change the fact that it's a ridiculous rule and that should have been a goal. So it's hard for me to get too up in arms about like, well, that shouldn't have been a goal because of intent to blow, because that would have been a bad reason to make it not a goal. So I can't get angry about it.
I swear, I thought I remembered them changing the rule that like, you can have a continuation play on an intent to blow because that's a dumb rule. Like, I thought they like somehow phased it like out, but I don't remember. I can't find it anywhere, so I don't know.
I feel like ultimately people weren't angry as much as they were confused by what
There's
happened.
Just no explanation. That's what we were arguing. That's what we were just yelling about for 5 minutes. Like, just tell us what's going on. I would like to know.
I think it wouldn't shock me if they basically retconned it. If they looked at it and they're like, well, we know we screwed this up, so how can we get back to the point where we should have been? Let's just say we blew it dead for goaltender interference and then fix it from there. Wouldn't shock me. And I guess I understand why people might be frustrated at that process, but I think the result ultimately is fair.
That is Steve's theory, in fact. Charlie, what was your reaction to Kuzmenko's debut? And did any of his coaches, or did his new coach or any of his teammates speak on his first game?
I thought he looked good. I think he played a really good game. Particularly noticeable, obviously, in the offensive zone, but he had that really nice, subtle play with the puck to set up the rush that sent Konecny and Laughton in to create the first goal. So it wasn't just, the flashy plays with the puck, but I thought he was decisive in the offensive zone. He could have had 2 or 3 assists. He set up Gaucher for a really good chance. He set up York for that one that he rings off the post. That could have easily went in. I believe he set up Michkov for a quality chance as well. Like, he could have had a multi-point night. It was a strong game. So I'm enthused. I'm intrigued. But the one thing that I always will have in my head about him is that he's done this before. He's been with 2 NHL teams, and in both of those situations, he got off to strong starts and then fell off. With Vancouver, it was an entire season. With Calgary, it was after the trade deadline. He scored, I think it was like 21 points in 27 games, something like that.
Yeah.
And then this year, he completely fell out of favor. So he does have the track record of being a quick starter. And I'm not necessarily going to get sucked into the, oh my God, this guy is great, because I feel like that seems to happen in all of his stops. And then he falls off, and then you wonder, like, where does this guy fit? So far, so good. He definitely showed he has skill. Now he's got to show he can hold it. And, like, let me put it this way. If he has a strong final 25 or so games for the Flyers, I don't know if even that would convince me to make a big commitment to him, because he's obviously a pending UFA. However, I still have to watch all these games, regardless of whether the Flyers are going to make the playoffs or not the rest of the way. I still got to watch and cover every single one of these games. And if Kuzmenko is going to be a fun player for the rest of the season, I'm totally cool with that.
Charlie, no, we need him to have a strong 6 or 7 games and then flip him, because who doesn't need offense? And him only being a strong starter, perfect for a team acquiring him right before the playoffs. That
Fair
plays
point,
right into what he does best.
You're galaxy braining this, Bill, and I'm into it.
I could run this team. I'm telling you, Steve. Poorly, but I could do it. I'd do a better job than Chuck.
That
Fletcher,
sounds like a premise.
Not O'Connor. Fletcher.
That sounds like a premise of a bad movie. But
Charlie, you've stayed optimistic about Sam Ersson's true talent level despite his injuries and inconsistencies throughout most of the first half, 50 games of the season, whatever. Is Ersson playing now the best hockey of his career?
I don't know if I want to say the best of his career, because he was really good for stretches last season. So I don't know if I would say this is better than that. Like when he basically stole the #1 job from Carter Hart while he was still here, that Sam Ersson might have been better. But this is definitely the best he's played this season, to be sure. I'm not quite ready to say that this has changed my opinion of him, because you say I'm optimistic. I think I'm just more optimistic than you. That doesn't mean I'm optimistic to the point where I'm like, yeah, he's the Flyers' future #1. I'm not there. I just think he is at least a solid NHL goalie who deserves to be in the mix. Now, whether that's as a tandem goalie, whether that's a backup, I don't know. So just because I'm more optimistic than you doesn't mean like I am a Sam Ersson needs to be the Flyers' #1 for the foreseeable future guy. I'm not. He still needs to show me more. But since Christmas, he's been a pretty good goalie. And it's been interesting over these last couple of weeks where you've had like the Flyers play has dropped and Ersson's play has improved. If they could only get a run going where they were playing well and the goalies were playing well at the same time. But it hasn't been the case this year, ever.
It's the Phillies lineup. Man, if we could just get Harper and Schwarber and Turner all going at the same time, we'd never lose. It's like, well, they've never been. No, the only reason I think like this might be the best stretch of Ersson's career is, like you said, stole that #1 job from Hart. Like, he's starting less than half the games and then like working his way up to that at that point. This has been all him. Fedotov has played like twice in a month, basically. And that's just, I think, the workload plus how consistent he's been outside of like one bad start. When really, like, Steve and I decided on 1.5 of the 4 goals he gave up in that one bad start were his fault. So, like, I just think that's how good he has been lately. Charlie, how many Eagles chance tonight? 20, 30?
Ooh, too many to count. I was not keeping track, but there were a lot. I can tell you
Birds. Boucher probably dropped like a dozen Go Birds on the broadcast too.
It was good stuff. All right, Chuck, it is now time for your 3 stars of the game presented by our friends at Rite Aid. Check out riteaid.com, make appointments, schedule vaccines, sync up your prescriptions, not subscriptions, prescriptions, all that stuff at Rite Aid, your local Rite Aid. All right, Charlie, hit us with star number 3.
Yeah, star number 3, I'm going to go with Andrei Kuzmenko. I thought he was impressive, has an assist, could have had, I think, 2 or 3 assists in this game. It was a strong debut. He was impressive. Again, I'm not ready to crown him. I'm not ready to say that, like, oh, you gotta sign him to an extension. No, he's got to show a lot more. But for a first game, this was pretty impressive. He looked good. 3rd star of the game.
Who is star number 2?
Travis Konecny, who's heading to 4 Nations. He obviously gets what ultimately is going to go down as the game winner, even though it was a 3-1 goal. Obviously, then it gets cut to 3-2, so he gets the game-winning goal. One thing that was funny, I think John Tortorella is a little frustrated at the moment with Travis Konecny's overall play because Jackie of the Inquirer kind of threw him a softball. I'm guessing she's working on a feature on him being at 4 Nations, and she was just like, Travis Konecny has all the points. He's having a great year. What do you think about him? And Tortorella's just like, yeah, he's been okay. So
well, I do want to ask just about TK real quick because you brought him up. He had a 2-on-1, like a little rush attempt after the Laughton goal. They have another rush attempt, he and Laughton, and it looks like the shot's there, and he tries to force the pass through like 2 sticks, and it doesn't get there. And that just brought up in my mind, maybe because I'm just looking for it, the idea that there's some sort of issue shooting the puck with TK. And then he comes in the 3rd period and just blasts that shot from distance. Now, yeah, like it deflected. It's not like he burned 110 Al McGinnis past the goalie or anything, but he leaned into that son of a bitch. How's he, like, have you talked to him? Is he feeling good, looking good? Like, I don't know. I'm still just not convinced he's totally healthy.
Well, he's getting treatment after every game. When we ask for him after games, he doesn't come out with the other players. We get the coach, and then Konecny will come out after, which implies he's getting treatment. So that's been the case pretty much since like the 2nd week of the season.
Okay.
I don't know if he's further banged up. I don't know. I'm not buying into your he can't shoot because he's hurt conspiracy theory, but do I think that like he might be dealing with something? Yeah, maybe, because again, he's been getting treatment after every game since like the 3rd week of October. So yeah, there might be something that like he'll need to get cleaned up at the end of the year. But you know what I will say? If he's playing hurt, he's darn good playing hurt because he has 61 points already this year, which I believe is now tied for his 2nd highest scoring season. As long as he stays healthy coming out of the break, he's going to blow past his career high. He's going to have a great year.
All right, Charlie, it is time for the Rite Aid 1st star of the game. Who you got?
Yeah, 1st star, Sam Ersson. He was great. If anything, he probably deserved a performance where he only gave up 1 goal, because that Hayes goal, while I do believe it was a goal, he made such a great save on that. Like, he needs some help. Somebody's got to clear that puck or push it under his pad. He deserved to win this game 3-1. Even by winning it 3-2, he still puts up really good numbers. This was the, 2nd straight really good Sam Ersson game. He's playing really, really well. And this one, he was by far the biggest reason why they won the game. He is the no-brainer 1st star of this game.
All right, Charlie. Now, the winner of tomorrow's game, that's a no-brainer. What's your final score prediction?
Let's say 30-23.
30-23. I like it. I like it, Charlie. All right, that is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, joining us live from the Wells Fargo Center. And Charlie, no games for 2 weeks, bud. Enjoy yourself, my friend.
Hell yeah. All right, see you guys.
All right.
See you, Charlie.
All right, that is Charlie O'Connor. Those were the Rite Aid 3 stars of the game. And how many, Brent, I didn't think to type it while Charlie was talking like a normal person. How many super chats? 3. All right, so we have some time. Cool. I forgot to ask Charlie about the damn power play, but this is something I really want to get into a little, because I have been, obviously, like, no one's happy with what Rocky Thompson has done. Like, the rankings, if there were 40 teams in the league last year, the only reason the Flyers were 32nd is because that's as far down as you can go.
He might be the least popular Rocky in Philadelphia history.
He really might be. But tonight, the Flyers, they only end up getting the one power play because they score on the delayed penalty with TK coming on late. That was a pretty funny story from Charlie, that nobody knew it was a penalty.
It was awesome.
They are in Cancun, right? The first 30 minutes of this game, all I could think was 1, 2, 3, Cancun. Like, that's where they were tonight.
They're either on the beach thinking about Mai Tais, or they are already thinking about this tournament.
But I have been able to, like, all right, Rocky Thompson, probably not doing a great job, but also, yeah, this team has no offensive talent. That's why we are where we are. So it makes sense they don't score that much. But, like, you should score sometimes.
I mean, you still have Michkov, Konecny, and Tippett. Like, you can't and you also have Drysdale. Like, you can't figure out a way to score with any of these guys. Like,
in their one power play tonight, Steve, it was maybe the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Now, again, it's only one, but this was the setup. Michkov, a lefty on the left boards. Kuzmenko, a righty in the bumper spot. So right there, you don't have the quick release play. Like, you don't have the quick release play. And then you have TK, a righty on the right boards. So you also don't have the cross-ice trigger man possibility, one-timers, whatever. It's just not there. You're not in position to shoot that way.
Dude,
how is this the strat? It's like they're doing it on purpose. Like, it's, you know how you swing a bat with a weight on it so that it's like they're going up to the plate with the weight still on the bat. They're doing it on purpose. They're making it harder.
They're actually practicing with a lighter bat beforehand. Like, I don't understand it, Bill. And, like, I don't understand how you're not trying to just, like, fire one-timers away on the power play. They don't seem to even have the thought of one-timers. And, like, whenever I think of power plays, I'm thinking of ripping one-timers. Like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. They stick to the perimeter. Nobody's in the right position. For me, like, yeah, they might have a little bit of a talent deficiency, but I don't think they have a talent deficiency to make the power play this bad. I consider it all coaching. Like,
it shouldn't be 15%. Like,
it shouldn't be.
That's not a real thing.
It's depressing.
You can't. No, they're not the worst team in the league. I'm sorry, they're not. Like, they're not good, but they're not horrendous.
No, it's the Sharks it's the Sharks and the Blackhawks by a mile. Like, yes. I was looking at the standings the other day. Like, it's easily those two teams is the worst team, and then there's a whole bunch of mid teams there. And then, you know, like, the Flyers are amongst those mid teams. Yeah. They just are. So with whatever Rocky Thompson is doing here, like, I really put it on him, because it just, they don't go up with any rhyme or reason. They are poorly coached on their power play strategy. And even though the PK hasn't been as efficient this year as last year, you can still tell they have better instincts on the PK. They have better training on the PK. These are not well-trained players on the power play. I don't know what it's going to take for them to make a change. It drives all of us nuts. It doesn't, like, you should be better when you have an extra man. And, you know, it's funny. The main reason that it worked out with the delayed penalty tonight is probably because they didn't realize it until the last minute.
Yeah.
So they got more of an odd man rush kind of situation where TK just comes on and starts blasting.
They were in the half court offense and they somehow found a trailer. Like, that's not a thing that happens. It's just they lucked into it.
They do so much better with quick break opportunities where if they have to set up, like, they did have some good cycles tonight. I'll say that much. Like, they can cycle a little bit, but for some reason they get an extra man and the other team just is, like, slightly aggressive towards them. They're like, I got no idea what to do now. They start freaking out, and it sucks. And that's a coaching issue. And I don't also know why, like, I know Tortorella isn't known as an extensively offensive coach, but, like, I don't know why Torts isn't getting in there and trying to do something to change it up, because, like, it sucks to watch. And if this team's likely missing the playoffs, right? But their power play taking a dive off a cliff is a big reason for it.
they need to either Rocky Thompson, like, I would love for someone to just go, explain to me what our strategy is. Like, what is the thing we're trying to do? You know, like the Giroux power play. All right, man, we have the cross ice options. We can also play pitch and catch with the point man. And we have, Wayne Simmons in front. Sometimes we can get that tic-tac-toe play to him. But it's all about, we're going to have the puck on Giroux's stick, and then he's going to distribute, and we create options for him.
We got the man in there, and he's going to just dish it out. And like, it was awesome. How many one-timers did we see old Claude Giroux attempt in that?
Yeah.
Whether
it was coming back to him, like from like the cross ice coming back to him dishing it up to the point, him finding the bumper man, like how many Braden Shen, Scott Hartnell, even Sean Couturier scored in that. Like, what is the strategy? I would love to know. And then, like, I would love to know what Tortorella, like, Torts, what are we doing? Like, you're looking at this going, this is acceptable. I am baffled by whatever the hell the power play strategy is. And at a certain point, like, you're not putting guys in the right spot. Again, talent deficiency. Travis Konecny's over a point a game this year. Matvei Michkov, yes, he's had his struggles in the second half, but with time and space and his skill, like, unless someone blinds him, he'd be able to distribute the puck a little bit. Like, you have guys who,
and now you have Kuzmenko in here. Kuzmenko can pass. We saw that tonight. He was great at passing. So, like, this is one of those things that, all right, this year I'll take the L. Like, I acknowledge it, but I really want, especially if Danny Briere is going to go what they call big game hunting soon, right? I want them to go out and get somebody that, like, I don't want them to waste somebody they go out and get. I don't want them to get a top tier center for this team that can actually distribute and help the power play and still go out with these just terrible strategies where they're sticking to the outside. They're not setting up one-timers. They're not setting up traffic in front. Just set up traffic. I don't know why we see this. Man. Tush push.
Get everyone in front and rip one-timers.
Dude, like, I'll put Delorier in there at this point just to screen the goalie because they're not screening the goalie effectively. And why do we see this and they don't? I don't understand it.
Through the last 2 years, sadly, I believe the best net front guy they've had is Morgan Frost, which is amazing, quite honestly.
It's so depressing. Amazing. Because, like, he was like a tiny little guy getting in there, like, okay. But it worked a couple times, not much, but a couple times. Just, it's an abysmal power play. And there's just no reason that you should be worse a man up than you are at even strength. It doesn't make sense. Also, just I want to take one more second and talk about just, like, Charlie mentioned TK's point pace. It's really amazing how he has blossomed. So I think he said he was at 61 points now. His career high is 68. So he's knocking on that door and it's incredible. Like, this is a guy that there was controversy when he signed his contract that, like, I don't even know you could feel bad about that now because, like, he is a leader on this team. He is scoring like crazy. I mean, right now it's awesome. Like, he's really up there, and to see this evolution is like one of the true, like, really great Flyer stories of the last, like, 5 years.
And this is something I wanted to mention about the TK contract, because I kind of reject that idea. Well, in 2 years, you're going to then have to go find TK. And it's like, well, yeah, but, like, then the younger version of a guy that fits then, like, not him, like a different one. But I will say, in that scenario, that dude's making 12 mil, not under 9,
Right.
That is the difference.
Going up.
That is the difference with the cap going up. Like, him being under 9, that would be 12, 13 in 2 or 3 years. Like, that is the difference. Not so much replacing the production, but the efficiency, like the financial efficiency of it. All right. Before we get to the super chats, just want to thank all of those of you watching on TV. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And for more of the show, check out allphly.com. All right, Brenna, let's hit those super chats. All right, first one from Vince. Why not us? Well, they got a lot of teams to jump, Vince. I don't know. I'm not feeling good about this one. But, hey, maybe if you're talking about the Birds, there is no reason. It's going to be them. Like, that's all there is to it, man. Get your kitchen furniture out on Broad Street for the parade now.
Oh, I'm in. I'm already there.
I'm already there. I'm like the Flyers. I'm already on vacation, man.
Oh yeah, I'm already thinking about it. I mean, I'm going to spend the rest of my night and tomorrow morning reorganizing my house to have a million people here, but it's going to be a good time.
Hey, our Super Bowl party became much, much larger in the last few days, and I'm like, okay, we'll figure something out, I guess. All right, let's hit this next one here from Timbo Slice. Why not us? That second Penn's goal was total BS. Us against the world. We're winning the whole damn thing. I love your optimism, Timbo.
There we go, Timbo.
All right. Let's see this next one here from Pacenema. Let Kuz go or extending is Fletcher-esque. Flip him. Listen, if you want to, I don't really know what the market would be, even for, the short period of time. I guess maybe you could, it's only till the end of the season, so you're not killing yourself if you cover some of his contract. But if you want to tell me him being pals with Michkov and then working together on the power play and just being more comfortable together, like maybe they'll hang out over Four Nations. If you want to tell me him being friends with Mish for the rest of the year is worth more than whatever they could get for Kuzmenko, I'd buy it. Extending him, no. Like, yeah, maybe if he has hat tricks in like 3 of the last 8 games or whatever, I think, but I just, he doesn't fit the time. Keeping him, extending him, that's foolish.
I guess I would extend him for the right price, but like, I'm not paying him what he's making right now. I'll say
that's
that much.
And that's the thing is he always has man, you want to play for like, I don't know, 1.5, 2.5 mil. Well, I'll just go back to Russia and make a big bag of money.
Cool.
Like the KHL is always on the table for him too. So
yeah.
I don't think.
We were talking about this earlier, but I'd be fine with a flip if you have you have a buyer. Like if you have somebody interested, like
why not?
Hell yeah, let's go.
I could be convinced that it's better to keep him for Mish, but yeah, flip him, man. Like why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mish is already making fast friends, so I'm not too worried about his social skills.
He seems pretty fun. All right, do we have? I think that is. Oh no, another one from Kyle O. Food spreads for Super Bowl.
Oh, this is
cheesesteaks and Stromboli.
This is the topic I'm into. I love it.
We have wings, hoagie trays, some Stromboli, some pizza. A whole bunch of people are bringing a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't know what it is, so I'm just excited. I got to go get like 2 30s and a bottle of tequila tomorrow, and the food everyone else is hooking me up with, so I don't know.
I went and I got some more beers from Brewery R's down here in South Philly, so I got some South Philly specials from there. We're making we got 3 types of chili on tap for tomorrow. Okay, we got a chicken poblano. We got a veggie chili with like chickpeas, and we got some straight up frozen Campbell's chili that I got through a certain hookup. And then we've also got, I ordered 100 wings. So we're looking good. It's going to be a good time. And we're making cornbread too.
All right. I believe that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers. Oh, okay. I see what's going on here.
Yes, I'm loving it.
I was like, why are there just random?
We got to let this go. We got to let it finish. And then
I was just very confused. But
exactly, Bruce. Eagles. Go Eagles,
Now we have the Eagles chant. Before we get... Oh, that's right. Steve, final score.
Final score. Oh, I feel like something in the area of 41-33 sounds pretty good to me.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I have been saying all week, Eagles by 17, 37-20. Give it to me.
Go Birds, Saquon MVP. Let's do it.
This is going to be Vic Fangio's masterpiece. All right, and that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll be back next week with some studio shows. No post games for 2 weeks. We're going to be in studio doing our panel shows, having some fun. So make sure you join us right here on the YouTube page. Set that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast as well. And give Flyperbole a follow on Twitter and in the old podcast realm. All right, that'll do it for us. I am Bill Matz. That is Steve Jaco. Go Birds!
Go Birds!